Hey there, my name's Portia Lori. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I don't actively seek out what's going to be the next trending TV show or movie that I should cover on my channel. However, there is this buzz that was going on online about a certain TV show. I knew that in the back of my mind, I was like, this is gonna blow up. This is gonna be a really big thing, whether or not it's good. It's going to be, I just have a feeling this is going to be something big. So I kind of told myself, I'm going to loosely plan to maybe eventually check it out and cover it at some point on my channel. Now, prior to checking out the first episode, I didn't know anything about this besides who had written it and who was in it. I really want to make my own opinion. And then I started just seeing all of these videos start popping up one right after another. And like I said, I had an expectation that this show was going to garner a lot of online attention and online dissertation about it. And then the videos just never stopped rolling in. So I watched it and I was like, and that's kind of my reaction. I don't think I really had words to share about what I had seen, but I was disturbed. But I'm talking about HBO's newest infamous, I cannot call it a hit, TV show, miniseries if you want to call it, The Idol. And while I know that I usually don't really enjoy being part of this kind of echo chamber on the internet where we're all just kind of shouting into the void. And while I don't think my views are super unique on this particular TV show, I couldn't just not talk about it beyond my expectations in a non-positive way. But first, as usual, if you enjoy my opinion on all things pop culture, movies, TV shows, music, what have you, do me a solid and drop a like on this video, then run over to that subscribe button, hit the bell next to it, so you can be notified every time I upload. I also recently started a podcast. If you would like to listen to my longer, extended form opinion on movies, go ahead and check it out. It is listed in the description box below. I host it with my boyfriend Jerry and his best friend Daniel, and it's a lot of fun, so we'd love if you joined us over there. In an effort to not make you sit around listening to an opinion you've kind of probably heard already throughout your other YouTube subscriptions, I wanted to try to make this as short and concise as possible. So what I have done today is made a point of 7 different things in The Idol that bother me or that I wanted to talk more about based on every letter in the show title. So without further ado, I say we just jump right on into it. You know what? To get this particular topic out of the way, let's just talk about the nudity in the show, because it is extensive and gratuitous. Okay, so the thing is, it's I'm not a prude and I'm not trying to sit on my high horse and be it was not tasteful nudity. But my problem is that if you're going to have nudity on a TV show, then I think the nudity needs to add something to the scene, to the character, to the dialogue. It needs to have a rhyme and a reason. And sometimes that reason doesn't need to be super in depth. It doesn't need to be super complex. Sometimes people are just naked because that's what the scene would call for. But a lot of the nudity that I witnessed in this show had no rhyme or reason for existing, and therefore it comes across as incredibly exploitative. And I'm sure everyone is tired of hearing that word being used in conjunction with this show, but guess what? That was this show. By episode 3, the nudity was no longer shocking. So the fact that people are nude never adds anything anyway. And to be fair, this is not the only show that I felt this way about. This is just, the topic of today. Oh, and lastly, because I know everyone else has touched on it, I'd feel weird if I skipped over it, but the disrespect of the intimacy coordinator in the first episode, I'm still confused. Do you think he might still be trapped in that bathroom? I'm just saying, they never let him out, and maybe he just stopped banging on the door, and maybe season 2 was about finding his body and covering up the murder. Just saying, wasted opportunity. For H, I have a hell of a cast, wasted potential. I think this show, with the exception of 2 specific cast members, I think this show was casted really well. I think Dan Levy is absolutely hilarious. I haven't watched all of Schitt's Creek yet, but I'm working on it. I just think he's absolutely so talented and so funny, and he has a very, 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 very minor role. I want to say he's like her publicist, a publicist, PR for the label, something like that. But he's got some really good one-liners, and I enjoy his snark. Jane Addams, who plays the character Nikki, she works for the record label. I thought she was an absolute excellent kind of diabolical, I would almost put her as a co-villain of The Weeknd, or Tedros, let me call him by his character name. But I felt like Nikki could have been, if they had written this better, Nikki could have played a really cool role that almost mirrored Tedros. Because I felt like there were bones of that in the first episode, with the way that she's mental health is sexy, and that haughty little minx with the Photogate 2023. I felt like there were things that they were trying to set up that would have been so interesting for a season 2 if this show had been written better. Don't you think it would have been really interesting? Like how Nikki during the showcase was trying to get on Tedros's good side, and she was like, I can see you did all of this. You're really strung out and sweaty, my dude, but you did all of this. I want to work with you. It could have set up this really interesting triangle of power, and it could have been Tedros, Nikki, and then Jocelyn. And then there's also the whole Diane thing, which was a really weak plot line that you could have really pitted Diane and Jocelyn against each other. Do I love a woman on woman beefing match? No, but this is a TV show. So also I'm gonna suspend my disbelief because I want to watch something that's interesting to watch. There were opportunities. The whole time I kept watching this, I kept feeling the bones of this are actually kind of good. I felt like there were bones that they could have built off of to create these really interesting dynamics, and they just kind of shit the bed with that idea. Rachel Sennett, everyone and their mother has been talking about her. I had no idea who she was. I had no idea she was a comedian, but I'm going to be looking into her from moving forward. I thought she was really interesting. I also haven't had a chance to watch Bodies, which I didn't realize she was in. So now, bigger opportunity to watch that now. I did mention that there were a couple casting choices that I wasn't fully on board with. So I just don't know if I fully 100% believed him in this character role. I didn't think the performance was terrible. The terrible acting award does go, in fact, to The Weeknd. I really didn't like his depiction of Tedros. I think that it came across almost more spooky and horror movie than it came across intimidating or dangerous. And that is my biggest problem. I don't want to spend too much time dissing this man's acting. That's something that can be changed. I think he could take some acting classes and improve. I don't think he has to never ever be in another movie again. He should probably consider never writing anything ever again. But that's for a different day. I think there's potential there. I don't think he really knew what he was doing, or at least that's how it came across as an audience member. And it doesn't matter how much he wants to sit on his little high horse and be like, people don't get it. He's not supposed to be an attractive character. That's fine. I don't need him to be an attractive character. I need him to be a believable character. And the thing is, the things that would come out of this man's mouth, the way everyone fawned all over him, didn't add up because the charisma is missing. E is for enough with the cigarettes. I really don't have much to add here. There is just a lot of smoking. I think this is the point where people were being like, this is bad for our teens, and they're gonna think smoking's cool. This show is very obviously geared towards adults. If you didn't already know the dangers of cigarettes, like this show wasn't going to teach you that. So like, I don't really care. I don't mind if a character smokes, but I do think that there was like too many cigarettes to the point where it was like comical and also distracting from what was actually taking place. So that's my only comment on the cigarettes. I don't care if the character smokes or not. I actually do think like all the characters are given like so much like just blank personalities that like Jocelyn needed like something that would like tell me like, oh, she's going through it. At least like cigarette smoking tells me a little bit that you're a little reckless with your life. I'm really pulling at strings. I know that like me saying that, I'm like, cigarettes say all of that, like they don't, but I'm just trying to like pull something out of this show. I is for innuendo into cults, but fails to explore the concept further. I don't think I need to go super in depth into this. It is no surprise that there was a cult-like atmosphere about the show. I want to say it's the thing that they kept kind of like hinting at. I think if you watched enough of the trailers, you would have put that together on your own. And I definitely think after watching the first episode, you can already very clearly tell that that's where the story is going. I think the concept of cults is fascinating. So the idea of a singing Hollywood underground cult, ooh, that's right up my alley. Of course I'm interested in that. And so I was like, okay, now I have a reason to watch the show. Weeknd basically wrote this, and then Sam Levinson and him brainstormed to redo it. You know the Rolling Stone story. What I think is interesting is that he must have pulled a lot of his ideas from things that he's actually experienced. So I would have loved to have delved deeper into this cult thing, because maybe this is something that is going on behind the scenes that people don't know as much about, but we'll just never know, because to me, they just failed to really expose anything. It was more like, here's this guy and he's manipulative and we should watch out for him, and he does all these weird sex acts, and then it turns around, they're like, oh, just kidding, the manipulator cult guy also is being manipulated. But that's it. Like, no one got unbrainwashed. No one like felt more powerful in their own skin to be like independent. They all felt like they needed a god to follow. And if it wasn't going to be Tedros, it was just going to be somebody else. In this scenario, ended up just switching over to Jocelyn. So like, there was nothing really here. It just showed as like, oh, if you like love bomb people enough, or like tell them their potential enough, or like, you know, convince them that you know the way enough, they'll eventually just be your minions. I don't know, it just did nothing. It just did nothing. It had the bones were good, and then they threw them out. It's like there was a structure and an outline to the house, and then you were like, I'm just gonna make it with drywall. And they like just did that instead. And like, hopefully it'll stay standing if there's an earthquake. There was an earthquake and it fucking crumbled. Like that's where we're at. And yes, they did follow a lot of like cult type behavior. Like I was saying, like the love bombing, the immediate and swift punishment for going against the rules, forcing people to expose their deepest, darkest secrets so you could later use it against them. But the things that we're missing is showcasing the leader's charisma, the hierarchy within the cult, to understand kind of how it works and why maybe everyone wants to be at the top of the pyramid, so to speak, to be as like close to God as possible. And there's just none of that. And it never really showcases the real danger of being in a cult like this. If anything, Tedros finds all of these lost souls. He trains them to be good at a craft. And then he eventually gets them in contact with someone who can then put them on track to create a career out of their craft. So what was the danger? And then it almost makes cults look worth it. Jenny, I thought she was really phenomenal. And by that, I just mean I thought it was phenomenal that they got her to be in this show for 2 episodes or whatever the case may be. I do think Jenny was really interesting to have casted. I just wish that they gave her character something to do. Like I had mentioned earlier when I was talking about Nikki, I really think it was a great opportunity to pit Diane against Jocelyn. I think it would have been really interesting if they were competing for the time and attention from Tedros, but also competing on the world stage to be the higher performing singer. I just think there was a lot of opportunities and we just missed all of them. Also, there's like the whole portion of like Diane, they offer her the record deal that she ultimately takes. I wish I had gotten a chance to see her trying to develop her record more, so then when it all gets taken away, it's a little bit bigger and more impactful. Organic personalities were not on the menu. I don't need to go too far deep into this. It's just no one has a personality. Everyone's really flat. I don't remember who said it, what commentary it was, but I heard someone compare Jocelyn to like the sexier version of Bella from Twilight. And if you're unaware of what that means, a lot of people have said that Stephanie Meyers, when she wrote the Twilight series, she gave Bella a really like kind of blank canvas type of personality. So that way the readers, which were typically young women, would feel like they could put themselves into Bella's shoes, and it felt really kind of relatable on a world level and not just like if you fit into this criteria, so to speak. And I think that I couldn't agree more with that. I don't think that they give enough backstory. I don't think there's a lot of exposition, but I would much rather them show me using flashbacks, using something, newsreels, like people talking about her in the tabloids, like something to convey what her past was like. And I know that she wants to make an impact on the world, but it never shows like anything. Like, I don't know her favorite movie. I guess her favorite artist is Prince. Like, and so again, that just only kind of plays into her hypersexuality, because I think when people think about Prince, they tend to think of his more hypersexual songs. But that's not all he was either, you know, he had a personality. But there's just nothing ever given. Like, I don't even know if she's super into fashion. I just know that she likes to be sexy, to feel sexy, to have sex, like, and that's kind of it, which is why people are like, this is very like male gazy. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, the only people with personalities are Destiny and Fahim. I enjoy both of their performances. I really think 10 out of 10. I feel the same way about Nikki and Rachel Sennett. I didn't remember everybody's name, but I'm gonna check everybody out after this. I really, really loved Destiny. She was one of the few people that made me feel like, oh, there's some type of morality base, and not everyone is just like out to get everyone else. Also, I really hate that in the kind of cult members, we only get to interact with like Isaac, Chloe, and I think that's kind of it. Maybe we get to deal with like a couple other members here and there, Ramsey, but like we're not fully introduced to them at all. And then there's the guy that everyone is talking about that has like life's a bitch or something. I don't know what he has. He has some tattoo on the back of his head. I don't know why I don't remember what it says, because we see it in every goddamn shot. But like, I don't know what he does. I think he's just the muscle and he's like the security of the group. But like, honestly, I don't know. And they kept showcasing him in this like really eerie way that made me think like, oh, he's like a villain, like he kills people for Tedros, but he like does nothing. Like, he brings nothing of substance to this show. Like he definitely didn't need to be here. He's just like the boogeyman. And my last note is the lingering shots of nothing. There's a lot of shots that I feel like Sam Levinson used because they looked cool. Like, we would constantly be seeing Jocelyn through this kind of like pretty window smoking her cigarettes while we get some exposition about what's happening instead of seeing anything. There's like the time where Jocelyn and Tedros are standing on the grass after they just agreed that they'll make 3 hits in 3 weeks or something like that. There's the entire car ride to Rodeo. It genuinely just looks cinematic and cool. Like, it looks almost more like a movie than it would like your traditional TV show. And that's all well and cool, but that's not enough. My new thing of 2023, I am not down to watch stuff that has no substance, that is just pretty to look at. We talked about this with the bling ring. There's lots of things that I feel that way about. I think Euphoria is also a big proponent of this problem. I watch Euphoria in the sense that like, it's a show and I'm like vaguely interested, but I think the acting is so good, regardless of the writing and the Sam Levinson of it all. So that's what keeps me tuning back in. This show basically was like, let's take everything good about Euphoria and dump it in the trash can. We're just gonna keep the way it's shot and then go from there. I'm not gonna weigh super heavy into the misogyny of the entire show and like the male gaze and like the sex scenes and how a lot of people are viewing this now as like a great fantasy TV show. I'm not gonna go into that because I don't feel like I can properly communicate why this is wrong and why it is such a problem. So I'm going to leave that to people who are more well-versed than me. So I'm sure you can find people that will go over that. So these are just the petty things I just really didn't enjoy. And I could have watched this and just gone about my life and never spoken about it again. But you know what? That's not as fun. So I hope that you enjoyed listening to my opinion. Oh, I did say I would give my 2 cents about Lily Rose Depp, but I really didn't enjoy her performance. I think she honestly, I think she acted her ass off with what was given to her. And I don't think that this is a scenario where I would 100% judge whether or not she's a good actress. But me personally, I am really psyched to see what she does next. I am very, very interested to see how her career develops from here. And I am, although I did not care for this show, I have found I found a lot of people from watching this show that I'm gonna go check out their other stuff. So like, it's not all for nothing. But Lily Rose Depp, I hope you're not letting like any of this backlash deter you from like continuing your career in acting. I hope you do more stuff. I will definitely be one to check it out. Don't let all of this like lay you down. I just think it was a trashy show and it had a trash plot and I just wanted to talk about it. But you know, hopefully all these people will go on to do bigger and way better things than this smutty little show. But that's all I have for you today. I hope this was a pretty quick wrap up of my thoughts on The Idol. Be sure to let me know in the comments. If you unfortunately watched this show, I would love to know what you thought. If you didn't watch this show, let me know if you're watching every single review and if you feel more positive about your decision not to watch this. Like I said earlier, if you like the video, please like the video. If you enjoy listening to my opinion, hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. At the time of recording, I am only 8 people away from reaching 1,000 people. And that's my big goal for 2023. So help your girl achieve her goals. I also mentioned I'm on a podcast. That podcast will be linked in the description below. It's called The Cinema Sit Down, and we just talk about movies. It's super fun. Love if you joined us over there. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say. So until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.